Did you know that some of the world's most important animals are so small that you might not even notice them? These tiny creatures play vital roles in ecosystems, helping to keep the environment in balance. Today, we're going to meet the 10 smallest animals in the world, ranked from largest to smallest. Get ready to be amazed by these miniature wonders. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible facts about the animal kingdom. Let's dive in. 1. Bee hummingbird, Meleaga heleni. Kicking off our list is the bee hummingbird, the smallest bird in the world. It measures around 2.2 inches, 5.5 centimeters, and weighs less than 2 grams, about the same as a small coin. Found primarily in Cuba, this tiny bird is a super fast flyer, beating its wings up to 80 times per second. This allows it to hover and feed on nectar, much like a bee. Despite its small size, the bee hummingbird plays a massive role in pollination, helping a variety of tropical plants to reproduce. What's amazing about the bee hummingbird is that even though it's incredibly light, it still has a fast metabolism, requiring it to eat constantly. It drinks nectar from over 1,500 flowers a day. Without this tiny bird, many plants in its habitat wouldn't get the pollination they need to survive. Plus, the bee hummingbird is prey for larger animals, making it an important part of the food web, linking different species in its ecosystem. 2. Brookesia micra chameleon. Next up is the Brookesia micra, a species of chameleon so tiny that you could lose it in the palm of your hand. Measuring only 1.1 inches, 2.9 centimeters, this chameleon is native to Madagascar and is one of the smallest reptiles in the world. Its brownish color helps it blend perfectly into the forest floor, where it spends most of its life. Despite being small, it's a skilled predator, catching small insects with its sticky tongue. The Brookesia micra doesn't just hide to avoid predators. Its tiny size is actually an evolutionary adaptation to living in dense forests, where large predators would have difficulty spotting it. In addition to controlling insect populations, this little chameleon also plays a role in the health of the forest ecosystem by being prey for birds and larger reptiles. Its size makes it a fascinating example of how animals can evolve to fit their specific environments. 3. Dwarf seahorse, Hippocampus tiniest. The dwarf seahorse is one of the smallest species of seahorse, growing to about 0.6 inches, 16 millimeters, long. This minuscule creature lives among the coral reefs of the Indo-Pacific and uses its excellent camouflage to hide among the corals and sponges. Despite its tiny size, the dwarf seahorse has all the typical characteristics of larger seahorses. The males carry the eggs in a pouch and give birth to fully formed baby seahorses. This species plays an important role in its ecosystem by eating tiny crustaceans and zooplankton, which helps control these populations and keep the coral reef environment balanced. Though it may be small, the dwarf seahorse is an integral part of the coral reef's food chain, and its unique reproductive behavior makes it even more fascinating to scientists. 4. Dwarf goby fish, Trimatom nanus. The dwarf goby, measuring about 0.4 inches, 10 millimeters, is one of the tiniest marine fish. This little guy lives in coral reefs and can be found in the warm waters of the Indo-Pacific. Due to its small size, it hides in crevices and coral holes to avoid larger predators. Despite its small stature, the dwarf goby plays a significant role in the reef ecosystem by feeding on plankton, helping control plankton populations. In addition to its ecological role, the dwarf goby provides food for larger predatory fish, contributing to the complex food web within coral reefs. Coral reefs themselves are among the most diverse ecosystems on the planet, so even the smallest fish like the goby help keep them thriving and balanced. Without creatures like the dwarf goby, the entire reef ecosystem could be at risk. 5. Stout floater fish, Paedophryne progenetica. The stout floater fish, which measures only 0.3 inches, 7.9 millimeters, is considered the smallest vertebrate in the world. This tiny fish lives in the acidic waters of peat swamps in Southeast Asia, particularly in Indonesia. These peat swamps are hostile environments, with water conditions that would be uninhabitable for many other species. Yet, the stout floater has adapted perfectly, feeding on microorganisms that thrive in these extreme environments. By feeding on microscopic organisms, the stout floater helps keep the swamp ecosystem in balance. It's also a crucial food source for slightly larger fish and invertebrates in its habitat. Because it can survive in such challenging environments, the stout floater fish demonstrates the incredible adaptability of life and how even tiny creatures play crucial roles in maintaining the health of ecosystems. 6. Paedophryne amauensis frog. The Paedophryne amauensis frog is a true marvel of the natural world, as it holds the title of the smallest amphibian and vertebrate on land. Measuring just 0.3 inches, 7.7 millimeters, this tiny frog was only discovered in 2009 in Papua New Guinea. It lives on the forest floor, among leaf litter, and feeds on tiny invertebrates like mites and ants. Its small size allows it to hide easily, and it uses its tiny body to maneuver through dense, wet environments. This frog plays a key role in controlling insect populations in its ecosystem, which helps keep the delicate balance of the forest in check. Although small, the Paedophryne amauensis is also an important food source for larger animals, highlighting how even the smallest creatures can be vital links in the food chain. 7. Dwarf bee, Trigona minima. The dwarf bee, also known as the smallest species of bee, measures only 0.08 inches, 2 millimeters, long. Found mainly in Southeast Asia, these bees play a critical role as pollinators, ensuring that flowers and plants reproduce successfully. Without pollinators like the dwarf bee, many tropical plants wouldn't survive, disrupting entire ecosystems. Interestingly, dwarf bees live in highly organized colonies, where thousands of them work together to gather pollen and nectar. These bees not only support plant biodiversity but also help in agricultural production by pollinating crops. It's amazing to think that such tiny creatures can have such a significant impact on the food chain and plant life. 8. Carebara atoma ant. Measuring just 0.03 inches, 0.75 millimeters. The Carebara atoma ant is one of the smallest ant species on Earth. Despite their size, these ants are incredibly important to the health of their environment. Living in tropical rainforests, they help decompose organic matter such as leaves and dead animals. This decomposition process enriches the soil, which helps plants grow. Carebara ants are also known for their complex social structure. They work together in colonies, performing different tasks based on their size and role. The impact of these tiny ants goes far beyond their size. They help recycle nutrients, making them essential for maintaining the biodiversity of tropical rainforests. 9. Marine flatworm, Leptoplana tremularis. The marine flatworm is another tiny wonder, measuring less than 0.2 inches, 5 millimeters. These creatures live in oceans around the world and play an essential role in the decomposition of dead organic material. Flatworms are scavengers, feeding on decaying plant and animal matter, which helps recycle nutrients back into the marine environment. Flatworms are also famous for their extraordinary ability to regenerate. If cut into pieces, each part can grow into a whole new worm. This incredible ability makes them valuable in scientific research, but in the wild, they act as essential decomposers, keeping the ocean clean and helping maintain balance in marine ecosystems. 10. Coastal mite, Paratarsotomus macropalpes. Rounding out our list is the coastal mite, which measures just 0.03 inches, 0.7 millimeters. But don't let its size fool you. This mite is the fastest animal on Earth relative to its size. Found in coastal regions, the mite feeds on decaying organic matter, playing a critical role in cleaning up its environment and recycling nutrients. Despite being nearly invisible to the human eye, the coastal mite is essential to the health of coastal ecosystems. Its ability to process decaying material helps prevent the buildup of waste, allowing other life forms to thrive. Its incredible speed and efficiency as a decomposer make it one of nature's tiniest but most effective creatures. These are the 10 smallest animals in the world, creatures so tiny you might never even see them, but they play essential roles in keeping our ecosystems running smoothly. Whether it's pollinating flowers, recycling nutrients, or controlling insect populations, these animals show that size doesn't determine importance in the natural world. And speaking of animals with surprising strength, don't miss our next video. Can any animal defeat a gorilla? These 10 rivals could. You'll be shocked to see which animals can take on one of nature's biggest powerhouses. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. See you in the next one.